Hey guys, today's story is about a problem player that attempts to kill the party by killing themselves. Before we begin, let me introduce the cast. There was the DM of the campaign, who enabled bad player behavior, who will be known as DM. We had the Paladin, who was the that guy of the story, who was obsessed with being a powerful show-off and wanted the game to be all about him. He played a fallen Aasimar Oathbreaker Paladin. Then there was the Bloodhunter, who was the person who invited me to join the campaign. He played a Drow Bloodhunter and a variety of other characters since he was constantly changing them. He himself was a bit of a problem player, but less so than the Paladin. There was myself, who was playing a human necromancer, and then the Ranger and the Gunslinger, who was a lycanthrope ranger bard and a human gunslinger fighter rogue thing, who were innocent bystanders. This story begins with me being invited to join an entirely different game that the Bloodhunter was running over Discord. The first session went great. However, he was having major issues with scheduling the game that eventually led to it being cancelled. He felt bad for me though, so he asked DM if I could join another game taking place on the same server, a level 13 game. DM said yes, and I was very excited since I didn't get to play high-level games very much. Now, a few years ago, I played a necromancer that I absolutely loved, but his campaign ended after the DM moved away. And I'd had trouble finding a place for him since then because few groups were of a high enough level, and even then, many banned evil alignments. DM, though, allowed it, and I was overjoyed. Because I joined the group late, I didn't necessarily know the whole story, but I learned from the gunslinger that they had fought a lich. So, I decide that while in a tavern, my character overhears the party talking about the previous encounter, and being a necromancer, is curious and decides to join them. I learn that the ranger and paladin work in the service of the Elf King, and Gunslinger joined them in search of treasure. The Bloodhunter is also playing a new character, since I think his last one died in the lich fight, though he might have just swapped characters. The first session was honestly one of the best D&D sessions I ever had. The combat encounter was fun and creative while still being challenging, featuring an exploded alchemist labs with chemicals that cause the alchemist to randomly change into different crazy monsters. The paladin tells me that his character has an issue with necromancy, which kind of annoyed me because my character had already been okayed with the DM. But I didn't expect anything to happen beyond possible in-character arguments, and a bit of inter-party conflict isn't a bad thing at all. Plus, it could be fun trying to see how long it would be before my character would reveal to his that he was a necromancer. Later on, the Elf King gives rewards to the party members, and Paladin gets a parcel of land. We decide to check it out and find out that the land contains a secret underground bunker. The Paladin decides to explore it himself, locking us all out, because it's his land and he can do what he wants. This decision is entirely fair, but what's not fair is the fact that the rest of the party had to sit around doing nothing as they listened to the Paladin explore the place while we just waited. The rest of us, along with the NPC elf princess, eventually end up picking a lock and following him inside. We end up fighting a beholder, which we've defeated easily since the paladin scored a critical hit with a high-level smite that was admittedly awesome, as well as a group of mind flayers. At some point down there, the princess got some terrible curse that put her in a coma, which the paladin wasn't able to remove. The paladin got angry at the DM for not letting him use his abilities. When he wasn't able to break the curse, and when the DM told him it was something unnatural and more powerful than a typical curse, the paladin told DM it was a lazy plot hook and started insulting his DMing and improv abilities, which the rest of us were all very annoyed with. The Bloodhunter was also complaining for an entirely different reason. He decided his character was too edgy and not too fun to play, and wouldn't stop talking about how he wanted to play a bard instead. The DM told him that he can switch characters after his character dies. At this point, I wasn't having as much fun anymore, but I figured it would get better. Because the Paladin and Ranger were sworn to serve the Elf King and protect the princess, we went on a quest to find a powerful ancient druid who seemed like the person most likely to know what her ailment was. On the way there, the Paladin finds a magic item, a sword made of stone that could cast the spell Earthquake once a day. This immediately worries me a bit, since I know what this spell does, and that it's really destructive and dangerous. Plus, he's already the most powerful person in the party, but I don't think too much of it, since he's so far been great in combat. We end up meeting with the druid. She doesn't have the cure to the princess's ailment herself, but gives us direction to the Underdark, since she believes that to be the origin. She does, however, immediately recognize my character as a necromancer. Up until this point, I've been playing my character as a blaster-type wizard, and in character. Paladin doesn't know he is a necromancer. She offers me a magic item if, in exchange, I raise her husband from the dead. I tell her that I can't really do that, and he would not really be alive, just undead. But she doesn't care, so I agree to it anyway. My character seeks out power, and the possibility of getting a powerful magic item from her is too good to pass up. The instant I start casting Animate Dead, though, the Paladin decides to stab the sword into the ground, casting Earthquake. I cancel the spell and immediately Dimension Door right out of there. Before I do that, out of character, the Paladin begs me to take the NPC princess with me. I refuse, telling them that she is his character's motivation, not mine, and that if she dies here, it will be his fault. The rest of the party isn't so lucky. The Bloodhunter falls into a fissure and just dies, not even trying to escape or asking how much damage he took. He's just happy he can switch characters. The Ranger and Gunslinger thankfully both make it out with the help of the Druid, along with the princess. The Paladin, though, stays there and says, "I summon the Angel of Decay." The DM asks, "What were the stats for that again?" And the Paladin says, "It's the 3.5 ones." Upon hearing this, I'm immediately worried, since we are all playing 5e, and I know that there's some major power imbalance between the editions, especially at high level, so I admittedly metagame and look up what the Angel of Decay is. I'm not the only person who does this. The Paladin goes into telling us all his incredibly edgy backstory and how he is possessed by, or has a split personality with this evil angel. That it's why he is an Oathbreaker Paladin and a fallen Aasimar, and that if he dies, this angel will entirely take over. He then kills himself, which causes him to entirely become the Angel of Decay, and tells us that his good Paladin personality is no more, and so on. The rest of the party is like, "We're not fighting this thing, are we?" "Nah, let's run away and get out of here." The Paladin whines at us for not wanting to fight his edgy creation that would definitely kill us. As we leave the NPC to deal with it and move on, when we complain about this whole thing, the DM apologizes, and the Paladin says, "It's what my character would do. He's stubborn." Now, I assume that the DM will, after this, be more careful about what he decided to allow the Paladin to get away with. Unfortunately, I was very wrong, and things only got worse. But that's a story for another time. Well, guys, that's the end of this. I do believe that there is actually a follow-up story to this, so I will eventually get to doing that one as well. And frankly, I don't really know why they would really be too willing to give this guy too much more of a chance after that, because that's a pretty blatant thing there. It's not a small little hiccup here or there being an issue, but really kind of like the nuclear option of, hey, look at me, I want to be the main character. But in any case, guys, that is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed, and thanks for watching. Have a good one.
I summon the Angel of Decay.